if I ask my child to help me with some chores, sometimes he says okay, but doesn't stop what he's doing. How can I handle this, as it can be very frustrating?
Well, again, that's one of those ones where I don't know the exact situation. It sounds like, you know, if you said, I want you to help me take out the trash, you didn't say, I want you to help me right now take out the trash. And so maybe they're thinking that, well, okay, I'll come to you and say, in an hour when I'm done with whatever I'm doing, hey, let's take out the trash now. So part of it could very well be that there's an actual literal misunderstanding of what's going on. I mean, that is a very real thing that can happen. Another part of it is that, again, he could just not be paying attention, that it's very possible. I mean, the problem with dealing with a child on the autism spectrum is that it's sometimes hard to tell what is or isn't autism, that you can also just have, if you've got a 12-year-old, it's like, okay, mom, whatever, that you still get that. So it's a tough mix to figure out what's going on, and that's why, you go back to that whole pay attention to the whys of everything and help them understand why you do things and try to understand why they do things, and never be afraid to ask. So, if they say okay and keep doing what they're doing, say, actually, I was thinking about doing it right now. Is that okay? Or, I'd really like to do it right now. Why don't we go do that, and see what they say in response to that?
So what would be the best way? If I wanted you to take out the trash right now, do I have to explain why, or just I want you to take out the trash right now?
Depends on whether you want them to do it sullenly and irritated or happily. I mean, if you say, I want you to take out the trash right now, and it's interrupting something they're doing, neurotypical or autistic, they're going to be annoyed with it being interrupted. I think that if you say, I want you to take out the trash right now because the garbage truck could be coming in 5 minutes, then that may help alleviate some of it. But it really, I mean, this isn't necessarily an autism thing at all, that, them not doing it right now because of communication issues, that's more likely with autism. But, being frustrated about it, that's going to be any kid.
What I think I'm picking up from a lot of these questions is that apparently children with autism have a tendency to appear to be a little bit more stubborn.
They often do. That's one thing that you get, is that kids on the autism spectrum, they often ask why more. And just not doing it without asking why first seems stubborn because they're not doing it. A lot of times they may have a hard time understanding authority because, doing it just because someone says to do it is really an emotional thing. It's a cultural thing that, parents having a specific authority over the child, a teacher having a specific authority over the child, those are all sort of cultural institutions. And so doing something because your parents do it, the autistic child may be just thinking, well, you're standing there right now, you're closer to the garbage can than me, why don't you just take it out? It would take you less time to take it out than it would to come upstairs and ask me about it. So there can be challenges understanding that dynamic there between parents and child and authority. And I can't really give good advice for how to help understand that. That's one of those things where, I don't think that you could explain what that dynamic is as a neurotypical person. It's just something that you innately accept to exist. And there's a bit of the whole parents know better and they're doing this for my benefit, but when it comes to something like you take out the garbage instead of me, that becomes very difficult to explain in a way that someone else would understand.